Very nice to meet you. Motorcity Comic Con here in Novi, Michigan. Let's go check it out.
Alrighty, guys. So I have to voice over a lot of this because it was so loud and noisy in there. But I want to take you through. We'll walk around Motorcity Con, see what they have to offer. We'll check out some of the costumes, the celebrities, and some of the booths. So let's go walk around and check it out. Alrighty, guys, coming up on the right hand side, there's a line and you see people holding wrestling belts. That's legendary wrestler Mick Foley.
There's Mick Foley.
I've loved Star Wars since I was a kid, and they had the lightsabers there. They had a whole Star Wars display with the stormtroopers, R2-D2. So cool to see. And you got to check out the sounds that it makes. It sounds just like it. Check it out.
How cool is that?
Okay, who doesn't remember David Hasselhoff and KITT from Knight Rider? Well, there it is. There's KITT from Knight Rider with a full-size David Hasselhoff. Very cool.
That's cool, eh?
Now let's move on to the Ghostbusters. This was a pretty neat display. She posed and they allowed kids and everybody to take pictures there. It was pretty cool. It's from Ghostbusters Detroit, and they were actually at Astronomicon that I was also at about 2 months ago. But a very cool display. Okay, we'll move on walking through some of the vendor areas. Check out that costume. Look at that. How cool is that? So this is the vendor areas, and we're going to walk all the way down to the back of the vendor areas and just check out the different sections. Look at that costume. That's pretty cool. I love that one. The full costume with this gold was just incredible. It was really, really well done. We found a lot there in the vendor section. They had everything from blankets to pictures. Look at Freddy Krueger. That was a really well done Freddy Krueger. We took pictures with him. But getting back to the vendors, it was really cool to see all the different vendors. They had quite a bit. Look at that. Look at the mask on that. And their partners coming up here. There's the other one. There were some really, really unique costumes, but the vendor areas, there was a lot of great pictures, blankets, figures, a lot of anime things. There was a lot of cool collectibles in the vendor area. That's really well done. So yeah, getting back to the vendors, there were a lot. Now there was one vendor that was just incredible that I was really impressed with. That had it was a light up picture. You guys probably know what it is more than I do, but they were pictures, almost glass, where I guess you put a light behind it, or it's just the way it's made. But it was such a cool looking display, and I'll show you that. But coming up here are a lot of the comic book sections and more artistry. Okay, we had to stop for some pinball. Who doesn't like a gaming section at a Comic-Con? So I actually stopped for a game of pinball. But yeah, the vendors were great, and there was a lot of collectibles and a lot of things I haven't seen before, even at other shows. Now, like I said, a couple months ago we went to Astronomicon, and we thought that was a great show as well. But a lot of the vendors here were very different from what they had at Astronomicon. Look at those costumes. Very cool. Now here's where you have a lot of the artists selling their pictures and their paintings and their drawings. And they were really, really well done. I give them a lot of credit because they're very, very talented. But you can see them there. Just incredibly talented artists and comics. Now this section was basically comic books, and some of them I've heard of, some I've never heard of, and they were really, really well done. If you look at the art and the pictures, they're amazing. They're really talented. But this section was basically art and comic books. Look at that. Did you see that pink costume? That's wild. Now we're just strolling through the different sections, and we'll see what, as you can see, there's tons and tons of costumes. Everywhere you look, there were costumes. There's there's a Pikachu costume. A lot of people were going up to Pikachu and asking for photos. Now this is over by the celebrities again. We took another stroll over by the celebrities. Some of the celebrities had long lines, some didn't. But it was, they had a lot of celebrities at this show. Later in the video, I'll also show you better photos and label each celebrity. Just on the right up here, if you take a look over to the right, I'll show a close-up, is Edward Furlong. I thought that was pretty neat to see. I'm a huge Edward Furlong fan. So I thought it was pretty neat to see Edward Furlong here. That was pretty cool. Richard Karn from Home Improvement and Family Feud. We really wanted to do selfies and chat with Carl Weathers, but he was not doing any of those. He was just signing and doing professional photo ops. Now, when I was a kid, I was a huge Taxi fan and a huge Who's the Boss fan. So I wanted to meet Tony Danza, and I did go and chat with Tony Danza and told him about when I sat in the audience as a kid and watched Who's the Boss. I told him what episode I was there for, because Danny Pinchero was sick that week, so they couldn't do the filming with him. But I told him what episode I was in the audience for, and I thought it was pretty cool to meet Tony Danza. And I don't know if you know William Daniels from St. Elsewhere, the voice of KITT on Knight Rider. He's from Boy Meets World. He's here. And Barney Bartlett, who's from St. Elsewhere, Little House on the Prairie. She was here also. There they are right there. They've been in a lot of things. Like a lot. But I had to go meet Tony Danza and tell him about when I was in the audience and just chat with him and take a picture. So it's nice to see you. Very nice to meet you. We actually chatted at length about my experience in the studio audience, the episode that he did for Who's the Boss, and he really took a lot of time with us. And I have to tell you, a couple weeks ago there was some blowback on an interview that Tony Danza gave when he seemed to be condescending to the reporter, but Tony Danza could not have been nicer. He was polite, friendly. He talked to all of us. He took the time, and he was really, really nice. There's Carl Weathers, Apollo Creed from Rocky, The Mandalorian. Like I said, he didn't do selfies at his table, but he was there signing. His premium price is so much higher than a standard 8x10. I think it's like $80, and then for a premium item, it's $300. So, you know, he knows the value of his signature. There's the DeLorean, the Back to the Future car. Very cool to see that. This is Christopher Lloyd's line. He's been in many shows that I've been at. Look at the guy in the line dressed as Doc Brown. That's pretty cool to see. Now we're going to head back over to the vendors and check that out. Okay, one of the busiest celebrities there was Charles Martinet. And if you know who Charles Martinet, there's Freddy Krueger. If you don't know, and there's the Lego guy. That's a pretty cool costume. Anyway, getting back to Charles Martinet. If you don't know who he is, he's the voice of Mario and Luigi and some other characters. His line was insane. There were kids dressed up as Mario, Luigi, and it was pretty cool to see him there. But yeah, he had a very busy line, and that's Charles Martinet. There's a close-up photo of him. He's the voice that we recognize so well from Mario and Luigi and other characters from that series. Alrighty guys, so we're going to keep walking through the vendor area, and you can see all the artwork there and the photos. Of course, tons and tons of comic books, which is great. If you're a comic collector, that's where it is. That's where you want to be. They even had oven mitts. They had just about everything with logos and characters on it, but it was pretty busy. And you can see they had some really unique collectibles, trading cards, artwork, tons of figures, but yeah, all kinds of collectibles. Every time I go to one of these Comic Con shows, the one thing I love are the vendors with all the horror and the masks and things. I absolutely love that. And you'll see it here on the right. This one vendor, Crypt Keepers. Look at the masks there and all the horror. I love looking at some of those. I've started collecting them, and I just think they're really cool as part of a collection. Alrighty, guys. And as I said, remember I was saying that they had a lot of figures and characters? Well, there's some of them. They had every different size of figurine, figure, anime, you name it. They had just about everything there for figures. It was pretty cool, and it's a great place if you're going to have a collection. But even the small custom Lego figures were really, really neat to see. That was kind of cool. Now, remember earlier I was telling you about that one vendor who I just thought was amazing? Well, this is it right here. Check that out. I absolutely love them. I don't know a lot about these, so you watching probably know more about them, but they were almost light up. The colors were so vibrant, and they were absolutely amazing. It was really, really cool. And I have to tell you, if you put that on a wall, the video doesn't do it any justice. You have to see it in person. It just comes right out of the wall. It's very, very cool. But yeah, really, really cool to see. Okay, now as much as I didn't want to leave this display because I just thought it was so cool, I wanted to take a few pieces home with me, and I probably will next time for sure. We went back down the comic book area, and that's where we saw Daryl McDaniels. Now, if you don't know who that is, that's the founder, and you can see him right there posing with people. That's the founder of Run DMC, and I thought that was so cool to see him. He was doing a TV interview at the time, but there he is in the AC/DC shirt. So it's pretty cool to see one of the founding members of Run DMC right there in front of me. That was pretty neat. Now, right after this was taken, we walked down the aisle. We went back. I went back to talk to him, and he had already closed up shop and he was gone. They were starting to pack up his booth. But yeah, there's Daryl McDaniel from Run DMC. That was very cool to see. There's Freddie again. Some of the costumes are really cool. They were very, very elaborate and very real. So with all the vendors they had and all the choice and all the people in costumes and just tons and tons of celebrities, I thought it was a really good show. It was interesting. I found it interesting anyway. And like I said, we've been to a few, and we would go back to another Motorcity Con, but it was interesting, and it was at a good venue. The venue had a lot of room, and it certainly wasn't overly crowded in the areas where we were. Alrighty, as I mentioned earlier, there's that gold costume again. Check it out. Check how elaborate that is. That's really cool. Anyway, I hope that this was somewhat entertaining to walk through Motorcity Comic Con, and I thank you for joining me. Subscribe, like, share, comment, and thanks, guys. I appreciate you. Take care.